Welcome each and every one of you to episode number 41 of my challenge run through Dark Souls 3. Last episode we were in the first part of the Keule dungeon, and now we're at the Profane Capital. And in between the episodes we did absolutely nothing. We didn't even went back. You just can see it because I have only one Estus left and still have damage. So there you can see one guy. This guy tries to catch you by surprise. It's not like he's actually ambushing you or something like that, but as we try to go over that bridge, he will jump on it, blocking our way, and then the fight with this guy starts. So let's see how this turns out. It's actually really possible. It happened one time to me and a friend, to Mentor, while we were playing co-op, that this guy can miss the bridge and fall down to his death, which is hilarious. I just got the Gargoyle Flame Spear, which is cool. Well, it would be cool if we would use it, but I think we're over this already. I don't have to say it every time. Here we get to the bonfire of the Keule dungeon, but before we go there, because I want to spare some time, I'm going here first. This is like where we get to the second part of the Keule dungeon. So we dropped down there, we couldn't go back the way we just dropped out of this tower, and going in is dropping down again, and here we find some rusted coins. Generally, coins are... you find a lot of coins in the Profane Capital. The story of the Profane Capital goes in the lines of... this is a whole civilization that fell down to greed. So people here were greedy, and they gathered their treasures and stuff like that, and betrayed each other. And there's this profane flame, which is a little bit like the chaos flame from Dark Souls 1, I think. I'm not completely sure. Maybe the profane flame somehow evolved out of the chaos flame. The profane flame kind of corrupts everything that gets in touch with it, and you actually can control it, or people try to control it. People here still try to, and the profane flame somehow made everything corrupt. And so this is a civilization that just went down through the corruption of the profane flame and overall greed. So those gargoyles have two different weapons. They have the Gargoyle Flame Spear and the Gargoyle Flame Hammer. The Gargoyle Flame Hammer is this torch. They are not too hard of enemies, but the first one can be hard because of the location. I have to switch to healing again. And later on we will face multiple at a time, and even one that has a more difficult location to face off while fighting him. I'm not sure, but I think he was an item. Maybe I'm wrong at this. I think I'm wrong. I was wrong. Here's no item. Here's just the possibility to drop down to your own death. So here we can see like people who turn to stone. I think those are actually not statues, but they were people. I think they were people that somehow like turned to stone or something that is pretty similar to stone. I'm not quite sure though. Well, this one actually looks like it is a statue because he's on a I don't know the English word, Sockel in German. Yeah, I think they are statues and not people who turned into this, because they have like those little things they are staying on. Wouldn't make sense if this would be people that turn to stone. That there's also this thing spawning below them, so it looks good. This Sockel. I really don't know the English word for that now. Just go into the Google Translator and search for a German-English translation of Sockel, then you know what I'm talking about. So now we're like in the optional part of the Profane Capital. We don't have to go here to face the boss. The boss is actually one of the Lords of Cinder that we already saw in the opening cutscene of the game. It's Yon the Giant. And Yon the Giant is a gimmick boss fight. If you don't know what a gimmick boss fight is, I'm going to tell you real quick. A gimmick boss fight is a boss fight where you don't fight him like a regular enemy that just has a specific moveset and you have to just straight up kill it. There are some bosses that have like weaknesses, something like that, but gimmick bosses are something a little bit different. Gimmick bosses, for example, was especially the first part of those. I'm toxic. That's not good. But you know what? I'll take it. Before I try to heal myself up from toxic, I'm just going there and trying to collect all the items that you can find in this area, because I for sure will get toxic again when I'm trying to collect those. Usually I want to outrun those guys here before I'm just running past them and collect all the items, and then I'm fighting them while I'm back on those little aisles where I don't get poisoned. So here we find a poison gem. Might be interesting for some kind of character, especially those like luck build characters. Or just to make your character a little bit more annoying. Or even if you want to fight a boss that's weak to poisoning. So a lot of uses for something like that. I think most people never used a poison gem, but who knows? I don't know for sure. I used one not too long ago. I used one for my bleed build character. I just inflicted my bleeding weapons with poison. I think that doesn't work. I just used the normal purple moss champ, but we need some with blooming purple moss clump. I don't know. Because we wasn't poison, we were toxic. Toxic is like stronger poison. So in here we find some really weird looking enemies, and I'm not completely sure, but I think those are like the former citizens of the profane capital. I'm going to kill those guys. You know, usually one of them should get up and we should be able to pull him. Okay, usually it's the other one. Okay. I can tell you one thing. Those guys are extremely weak to bleeding. Actually, they are weak to bleeding. Oh, I died. I just died. Okay, that was really weird. You know, usually how I fight those guys is the one that didn't get up just now usually is the one that gets up first, and he will come and you can pull him out and fight him in the doorway. And fighting one of them at a time, it's no problem to fight him in the doorway. But as you just could see, fighting two of them at the same time, fighting them in the doorway isn't too good. It's not a good idea. They are pretty strong. They have a lot of health, as you just could see. Bleeding is really good against them, as I told. They just get bleeding sticks in really fast, and I'm not sure. I think they don't have too much of a great health pool, but they just have really great resistances overall. So, and bleed ignores resistances completely when the damage output is kicking in. The bleed resistance doesn't make it that bleeding does less damage. Bleed resistance makes it that bleed is stacking up slower. So if you're playing a bleed character, those guys are really easy. And even if you don't play a bleed character, you might be able to just pick up a weapon that inflicts bleeding, and then you can just kill them extremely easy. Oh no, I just got toxic again. Okay, real quick, using another one of those blooming moss charms. So the reason why I think those guys are former citizens of the profane capital, that's... So there you see, that guy usually doesn't sleep. He is up and he comes down here. I don't know why he wasn't last time. I never saw him sleep before. Every time I came here, he was awake and he came out and I could fight him in this doorway without the other guys interfering. The thing is, if you trigger one of the other guys, both will get up. It's not possible to just get one of them to get up. You always get both. So now you see they have this like sitting down attack if you're behind them. But like most of their attacks are extremely easy to dodge. They also have this rolling attack that he's doing now, and they are pretty slow and clunky, so not a big deal at all. And there you get the Eleanor. The Eleanor is the reason why I think with the item with the item description, which leads me to the conclusion that these guys are former people from the profane capital. A strange weapon found among malformed inhabitants of the profane capital. The profaned flame was triggered by the curse of these women, reliefs of a certain oracle, but despite their culpability, they went on living without any cares. Skill, feast bell, hold up axe, and wave to emit a solemn chime to temporarily make weapons lacerating and to restore HP for each hit. So, yeah, it says it. It's found among malformed inhabitants of the profane capital. And so these things were women before they were these things. So now there are only two. I didn't want to fight three of them at the same time. This is why I lured both of them in the hallway last time. Now I can fight them in the open area, which is way easier. So this is the grabbing attack. I might be dead now because it deals a lot of damage. Yeah, I'm dead. So they really insta-kill me with that one. I think there's still an item in there, so I want to go back there. The items are, the enemies here are really, they are individual, so you don't have to kill them multiple times. It's really annoying right now that I'm just dying at these two guys again and again. It's especially annoying for me. I mean, I don't know how much it annoys you, but I can say that this annoys me a lot because I already died a bunch of times against them when I did my shield bash run. If you just watched some videos about, there are some videos of it on my YouTube channel, so you might have seen it already, but in my shield bash run I only showed you the boss fights. But I tell you something, I also did everything else in the game with the shield only, since I started the shield bash run. So the story of the shield bash run was I just played my bleed character, which was extremely hard, especially because I skipped a huge part of the game and just went into the optional area of the Archdrang's Peak, which is arguably the hardest part of the main game. The only thing with the difficult... Okay, I lost like 80,000 souls. Not a big deal at all, not a big deal at all. It's just so annoying right now. I don't know why I'm playing so bad. Well, let's free our mind from that. Back to the story of the shield bash run. So, I just played my bleed character and I skipped a huge part of the game and just went in the, I think, hardest area of the game. The only area of the game that can get close to the difficulty level of the Archdrang's Peak is the last part of the story, the Lothric Castle. We will get there soon. And yeah, I just went to the Nameless King, which is the hardest boss of the main game, if you ask me. I'm pretty sure he is just the hardest boss. There are two more bosses that got a difficulty level at least similar to the Nameless King, but they are not quite him. He is harder. If you ask me, he's definitely harder than the last and the last two bosses of the main game. By the way, so I wouldn't have to kill those guys, because only the one I already killed has a individual item that only he drops. But you know, it shouldn't be too much of a big deal to kill those guys right now. Oh shit. So which one is the one I hit it? It's the one down there. Nice. So he just tried to grab attack. That would have killed me. That's another one. So you don't want to be in front of them while fighting them, because they only can do the grab attack when you're in front of them, and they also, the other attacks they do, like the ones where you stand in front of them, are the harder ones, because they are harder to punish. So I got one of them almost. Just like one more hit. No, 2 more hits. Okay. 2 more hits, not 1 more hit. Now he's dead. So yeah, I just realized, I think there's a way to like cheat them by fighting them through one of those pillars in this room. But really, when there's only one of them, there's no need for that, and if there's 2 of them, it doesn't work. No, like their rolling attack and their like just sitting down attack are really their worst attacks, because they are really slow, and they have a lot of recovery, so you can get a lot of hits in when they do that. So you see they just drop dung pies, and back there's another thing. So if you struggle with those guys and you have killed the first one already, or you don't even want the axe, just run there, pick that item, get back here. That item isn't even really important. It's a purging stone, so it's a consumable item that gives you more resistance against curse, and also it turns you handsome again. So I use it. As far as I know, well, there's one more part of the game where curse is the thing, and actually can be really annoying, but I never used the purging stone. Actually, this run is the first one where I used the purging stone at all. So when I was in the second DLC, it was the first time I used the purging stone. In here we got another one of those. I'm not going to fight it right now, because if you go further in this direction, we get a nice spot and can do a plunge attack to open up the fight. But first we have to fight this guy, which can be extremely annoying, but don't necessarily have to. I mean, he got some annoying spells, but he isn't really tanky. And he got the Logan scroll. That was actually Logan. Logan is a magician, and he got the scroll, and we can give that to someone who can teach us spells, and then they got Logan spells. So that's everything on this rooftop, I think. But we can now drop down here. There we get another item, the Wrath of the Gods, and now we can do a nice plunge attack on this guy. And a full charged heavy slash, which doesn't deal too much damage against these guys because they have really sick resistances. Especially, I think blunt weapons are really weak against them. With another type of weapon, it would go maybe a little bit faster, but as the regular damage of my club is really insane, it wouldn't be too much faster if you use another thing. Those guys are just always really, really tanky and take a lot of hits. I don't know if there's like some kind of type of magic, if maybe dark damage is good against them or something like that. I don't know about anything like that, but what I know is that bleeding stacks up really fast against them, so it's a really good thing that you can use bleeding against them really good. So if you have a bleeding weapon that you can actually use with your character, you should try it out, because bleeding works really well against those guys. So another thing is, in the Profane Capital, almost any chest is a mimic. You can't trust chests in this area. I mean, it's a part of this greed theme of the area. That you... yeah, here's the dungeon again. And here are 2 invisible jailers that wait to ambush you, so I'm just going to fuck them up. And I'm going to turn back now, because this is not where I want to go now. I want to go here to do this jump into this window there, because there's where we have to proceed in our NPC quest line. So we go here, go up here, and there's this, and in there is Sigvard of Katarina. Let's talk to him.
Ah, you are a saint. Once again you are my valiant savior. I, Sigvard of Katarina, express my deepest gratitude. Take this, a token of my thanks. Go on, it's all yours.
So he gives us a Titanite slab, which is the best upgrade item that you can find in the game. It's to upgrade your weapons on level 10. So it's really beneficial to do this quest line to the end.
Ah, no, please. Go on ahead. I've my own road and a duty to fulfill. That is soon. Ah, no, and a duty to fulfill. That is soon.
Maybe you noticed how he got the tone of his voice got a little bit more serious in the end of the sentence. That's because his duty is really very well fulfilled, or he can fulfill his duty very, very soon. Not very well fulfilled. Very soon his duty will be fulfilled, and it's a really grim duty you have to do, and we're going to see that soon. Really soon. And there's a reason why he gets a little bit more serious in the last words, the tone of his voice. There's only one more encounter with him, and there we can take the Siegfried questline to an end. So now we are where the giant is. Oh, one more thing I did in between episode 39 and 40. I didn't talk about. I went to Uria. That was the... You might not remember that if you haven't played the game. So I'm just going to recap that for a moment. Uria was... you remember Joel? That was like the guy that... that gave us 3 level ups, 5 of them, and by taking those level ups we got dark sigils, which I talked about that we need them for the true ending of the game. So usually the giant tries to hit you. Now he starts, and you can like focus the redstone first. I usually don't do that because the giant usually kills them, but this time he doesn't bother and didn't try to hit me at all, at least not with most of his attacks, so he also didn't kill rats. Now we get a lot of items here. Titanite chunk, dung pie, Titanite, a large Titanite shard, Profane Flame, which is a really cool pyromancy, large Titanite shard. So that's it. Some upgrade items, a cool flame. What we want to do now is we want to kill this rat that comes out of there before it annoys us too much. So here we can see Siegfried actually. I didn't know that before, but you can get a sneak peek on him. So now, is this the right way? There are 2 ways now. Yeah, this is the right one. Now we can open up a new shortcut. That will lead us back to the beginning of the Aretha dungeon. So now we are here. We can rest at the bonfire. And now we go back down there to get some more items. It's really not more than just getting some items now. Actually, we will use a homeward bond very soon because I'm not really interested in walking too much now. So I just almost dropped down a cliff that I didn't want it to drop down at all. So as I told before, Profane Capital. We are not in the Profane Capital anymore, but the Erythal Dungeon is very close to the Profane Capital. So this chest is a mimic. I think you're not surprised. By now you shouldn't be surprised by it. So where was somewhere you can proceed now? Not sure where it is. Is it an illusionary wall that we have to hit? There is some way further. Ah, here it is. Here is the ladder. I just didn't see it. So we are now almost done with this with the dungeon. So now we are like in the upper room. Here was the giant. There was the place where he rested, where we took an item that lies in front of him, and where we killed the crystal bug. And there's the last item we can take here if we make the jump. And we make the jump. Nice. So I got lightning bolts. It's not like a big item or something like that, but you can have it or you can don't have it. So the answer is clear to me. So I'm just going ahead and killing all those guys another time. I'm just going to show you now how you could have run past this giant. You could have dropped down here, then you're up here, and then you can just go ba ba the, and you're here, where the rats are. The annoying rats. I want the item. So the timer just went off. I think this one is going... I don't know. Should I do Yom the Giant now? Because it really isn't worth a whole episode. But you know what? The next episode will be Yom and a little bit more. So I get to the Shrine Bonfire now. And I hope you enjoyed this episode. What have you done this episode? We have ended the secret quest line, and this will be most likely somewhat in the title screen. So, title screen. Then the title of the video. In the title of the video, there will there will be something about secret, I guess, because that was the most significant thing. Maybe it's about how I died stupidly a lot of times. It will be a hashtag freedom for Siegward. So, next episode we're going to kill Yom, and then we will proceed in the direction of Anorlando. Let's see how far we can get. So, I hope you enjoyed the episode. I certainly did. I hope you had fun, and see you in the next episode. Bye.